To understand why the PlayStation 2 game Berserk is a masterpiece, we need more context. Released in 2004, the game illustrates chapters of the manga that had not been animated to date. By faithfully adapting the manga's narrative plot, the game starts at Volume 22, which describes my first encounter with Nosferatu Zodd after the events of the eclipse, and ends at Volume 27, which introduces the Berserker armor for the first time in the manga's history and my fight against grunbeld, just 1 month after the release of this volume in Japan. From a marketing and fan service perspective, the timing was perfect. At that time, the only reference to imagine the world of Berserk with its color tones, character voices, and music was the 1997 anime. For the first time in the manga's history, we could hear the voices of characters like Puck, Serpico, Fornese, and Grunbeld, as well as all the other characters present in the game who never appeared in the 1997 anime. This game, in addition to being a true treasure for all fans of the series, is an extension of the Berserk universe that brings new elements, such as new music, a new cast of actors, and even an original story imagined by Kentaro Miura that features a new apostle never seen before, and its story, like the Lost Children chapter that has not yet been adapted, this original chapter will remain exclusive to this game while remaining faithful and perfectly fitting into the main plot of the manga. Beyond the events I have mentioned, I will demonstrate why this game was created with heart at a time when Kentaro Miura was still fully immersed in his work. I recommend playing it whether you are a fan or not. The first impactful thing you feel when you embody me in this game is the phenomenal feeling of my dragonslayer. But how is it different from other games where you can wield such a massive sword? Let's remember that Kentaro Miura was a seasoned perfectionist. He studied the handling of edged weapons and human anatomy for years before creating and imagining my movements in his manga in order to make them as credible and realistic as possible. All of this expertise and know how comes to life in the game. Every blow, every impact is fully mastered in terms of anatomy, physics, inertia, or centrifugal force. The representation and technical prowess of wielding such a massive sword become credible and come to life like never before. And this is even more accentuated by a total and faithful respect for my movements. It is an incredible feeling that can only be understood and felt by holding the controller. The developers achieved the technical feat of making authentic what wielding my sword represents in 2004, and all of this was introduced at a time when, remember, you, simple readers, could only imagine it through the manga. For comparison, the game Berserk and the Band of the Hawk, released in 2016, did not replicate this feat at all, not for lack of technique or time, but for lack of heart, and just by such a faithful respect, this game deserves your attention. In beat-em-up games, a certain level of repetitiveness can set in when it comes to performing combos. Developers are aware of this, so a wide range of weapons is offered to us for variety. However, in Berserk, my main weapon never changes, and aside from a few combat tools, I never use any other weapon than my dragonslayer. So how can we avoid tedious repetitiveness? Taking these parameters into account, the developers have implemented specificities and features in the gameplay that had never been done in beat-em-up games of that time. To avoid having combos that restart from the beginning and seeing the same pattern appear over and over again, giving the sensation of only fighting with 3 attacks, the developers allowed the player to continue hitting indefinitely. If you decide to never stop attacking, I will never stop attacking, like a true enraged berserker. This infinity is enhanced by 3 other gameplay elements. The first is that in this infinite combo, there are a large number of different and varied strikes, and you never feel like you are hitting in the same way. The second is that the developers integrated a mechanic that allows me to remain in guard while moving after a strike. This allows me to continue my combo smoothly and go towards my new enemy without the combo resetting and restarting from the beginning. This mechanic is simply brilliant and rarely seen in the world of beat-em-up games. And finally, the third is that during a combo, at any moment, I can smoothly reorient myself in any direction. This allows me to hit in all possible directions and readjust based on the direction of my enemies. Combining these three gameplay elements, this gives you the smoothest, most dynamic, explosive, and most fun X-button mashing ever invented in the history of video games. But of course, the gameplay is not limited to that. Charged attack, perfect guard, execution, dodge attack, Berserker mode, running attack, combat tools, and specific sword mastery combo. All of these elements take advantage of the accuracy of my movements that the developers faithfully transcribed. As a sacrifice, my fate is sealed. Demonic spirits find their way to me, who am in the interstice. I must continuously move from point A to point B while trying to survive each night while protecting Casca. My struggle and fight are incessant, while it is true that the goal always remains the same, to advance without stopping from point A to point B, with monsters constantly trying to kill me. It is with these elements in mind that the developers achieve a new feat by offering gameplay that seamlessly integrates with the storyline and continuity of the manga. The way to overcome them has been perfectly mastered to allow you to embody me and feel what it means to spend a night as me. Guts. This video is now over, and obviously, I haven't covered all the elements that make this game great. I leave the pleasure of discovering them for yourself. And if you want to see more, I invite you to watch my other two videos, where I accurately reproduced the two most iconic fights of the series, using the game as a medium. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, please like and subscribe.